Hello, friends. Happy Friday. How is everyone doing this evening? I hope your Friday is going well and your weekend is off to a fantastic start. I am sitting here a little bit chilly because it's a cool, damp day here, in my humble opinion, although my wife seems to think we need the air conditioner on. Uh, yeah, such is life. I also am in the beginning of what is either a head cold or the worst day of allergies I've ever had in my life, so I'll tell you more about that. But first off, let's see who has assembled this evening to join us and on our triumphant return for possibly 1 week. We'll see. But you got Big Dave. How you doing, Big Dave? It's good to see you, buddy. Flint Hill Briar, heading out to your campsite for the week. Last time until fall. Flint Hill, isn't this the best time? Like, don't you want to be there in the summer? Maybe I don't understand. Central Cal Piper, good to see you, buddy. Michael Case, thank you. Still in your voluntary pipe fest. Well, good for you, buddy. I hope dinner is a good one. Indiana 36, Indiana Piper 36. Good to see you. He's got his Missouri Meerschaum Country Gentleman with Penzance. Nice combination there. Signal Man Tony from Rhode Island. Thank you, Tony. Family are doing okay. I'll give you an update on my brother. It's he's got a long road to go, but we'll talk about it. Big Dave's got 89 sunny. It wasn't cold here. It's just damp, and I'm feeling cold. But it's not. I don't know. Maybe just because I got this head cold thing going on. That's why I feel like I'm cold. Lunch Money Phillips Squared, Werewolf, Pennsylvania. Good to see you tonight, my friend. Solitary Piper, good to see you. And there's Tim Fournier wishing us good morning from his undisclosed tropical isle. Good to see you, Tim, buddy. Did I mention I am smoking Haunted Bookshop at the Matches Memorial Friday 7 Nelly, as is the tradition, because I like it. And tonight's beverage, which I'm hoping goes well with the head cold, is Golden Road Brewery Street Cart. I don't think I've had this yet on the show. It's an interesting effort. It's a lime and salt cerveza is the way it's described. So lime and salt beer. I'm going to open it. And by the way, I'm not even doing a glass tonight, so I'm just drinking straight out of the can. I see, Flint Hill. You like to avoid the common woodland pests of ticks, bugs, and people. Understood. Pollen is brutal this week, Pipeful, and that may be what I'm dealing with here. I don't know, because it didn't really progress all day. It's my least favorite cold symptom. Yeah, I've actually rated my cold symptoms. It's like a sore throat, but it's not in your throat. It's like in the back of your nose, and it just hurts back there. I hate that. So that's what I got going on, but it hasn't progressed at all. I do feel stuffy. I feel like I sound odd, like I'm not sounding my normal self. I'm not getting the same amount of resonance in my head. And Dayquil made me feel a bit better, although quite a bit loopy. So, but yes, salt and lime and beer. And the interesting thing about this is I can taste all three of those. Doug Owen, how you doing, Doug? Yeah, Michael, it might be stress. I have had some stress lately. Haven't heard any cicadas yet, Big Dave. Boy, you can't miss them here when they come out. They're very loud. So I will let you know. Lunch Money Phillips got the same symptoms. Yeah, but I told my wife somebody else had these symptoms, and she said, well, something's going around. She's been a very gloomy Gus lately. Just anytime I think I see a silver lining, she just tears it out. David Arledge, Asylum 13 for a change. Good for you. Yeah, Michael, it's been interesting times. Ah, thank you, Doug. Much appreciated. Let me give you an update on what's going on because it's really not. I don't want y'all thinking that life is falling apart or anything. So on my wife's side, father-in-law is in a nursing home rehab facility. They say 4 weeks maybe he'll be there, and then they're going to send him home. So he's doing okay. Um, Getting strong, walking with a walker a bit further. The goal is to have him back to being able to, walk the length of the house again and things like that. So, looking good, all things considered. Uh, so that's good. My brother, on the other hand, is not good. He's got a lot going on, a whole lot going on. Uh, he's so I think I told you that they do well. They say it's colon cancer, but now they're saying, well, we don't really yet know that it's cancer. So he's got a tumor. He's got a mass on his colon that has perforated his bladder. And now we just found out today that it also has perforated his small intestine. And they've been trying to get him stable. So they gave him colostomy to stop the bladder from talking to the colon, essentially, because that was causing all kinds of infections and stuff. But he started to really go downhill. I left him on Wednesday and it was like everything was looking really good. He just went off a cliff since Wednesday, and today they had to open him up and do all kinds of. They took out a large portion of his intestine, small intestine, because it was blocked and becoming necrotic. Uh, Cleaned him out because there's leaking in the intestine that they did not realize was there because now the mass has apparently affected the small intestine as well. They can't actually get to the site that's leaking, so they did the best they could, but they until the inflammation goes down, there's not a lot that they can do. And that's pretty much it. So they've done all that. They now have him on antibiotics. He's in ICU. He's actually uh, heavily sedated, and they're just hoping that he's in septic shock right now, and they're hoping that he's going to be able to fight off this septic shock and recover from it. And if that happens, it's actually not a bad road for him. I mean, this is not something that's metastasized, spread. It's just in this one spot. It's affected multiple things, but it hasn't spread. No markers of tumors anywhere else in his body. He's had a million scans. So, on the one hand, the outlook is really good for him, but on the other hand, this next couple of days is going to be really critical, and it's a tough thing to watch. So that's where things are right now with both of them. So thank you all. I've been getting a lot of messages, and people saying hope all is well and praying and thinking, and it means the world to me. It does. And I told him about it a bit, and he's very happy to know that there's people out there that care about him and they're praying for him. So thank you for that. And we'll continue this. We'll continue fighting, and we'll see what happens. So so thank you, folks that are reinforcing that. I do appreciate it. There's Yornik and Todd Munson. Good to see you guys. Michael, I don't think they have done a biopsy yet, and I don't quite understand why. Part of it is just that there's so much inflammation going on and stuff. I don't think they want to play with it. I think that they're afraid of doing damage. Uh, so, Bad Company, Piper UK. Good evening to you, sir. McBaron Dark Twist. Good stuff. Michael, it is no picnic. I had it happen once, and yeah, I'll never forget it. And it was for something relatively simple. Did not realize that I had an infection that actually wound up. Yeah, it can happen quickly. So that's the scary thing about it. Lunch Money Phillips got a new suge from Smoking Pipes, made in Japan. Nice pipes there, Philip. Very nice. Hello, Cliff Higgins. Good to see you, sir. And there's Taciturn Richard. Thank you, Richard. Those prayers are much appreciated. So I have had Golden Road mango cart, guava cart. I've had spicy mango cart, and now street cart. And what I can say is I highly recommend 3 out of those 4. Um, Street cart is just, if you want an okay beer that also tastes like lime and salt, it's not horrible. It just, you stack it up against something like guava cart or mango cart, and it just kind of, I don't know why I'm drinking this. Uh, Ron Hardcrackers, yeah, third hernia surgery for Ron's wife on Thursday. My goodness. Oh my goodness, Ron. Well, I hope things are. I hope there's a good outcome coming there, Ron. And we'll certainly keep your wife in our prayers as well. Yes, thank you, Cliff. And there's, it's easy to get tied up in our own world, but I do try to keep when I pray, especially on Fridays, because on Fridays I have a routine that I do in the morning, and Friday's one of the days when I kind of reflect on others. And the YouTube pipe community list of people that I pray for has gotten long, not in a bad way, but it is long, and I find myself just kind of reflecting on that list, almost like it's like a symbol of just how incredible this community is, and that I have this many people that I care about that much. That sounds very self-centered. I don't mean it to be. I'm sure that any of you could have the same experience. Uh, so the prayer winds up being more of a, for everyone in the community, because if I focused on each and every individual, it would take me most of the day. But I do run through them and just think about those people, and just, in a microsecond, you can think about someone and think about how you met them and how much they mean to you and the last time you talked to them. It doesn't take that much time. And just allowing that to pass through your mind in that short amount of time is, we're lucky folk. I guess that's really what it comes down to. We're very lucky. Well, thank you there, Yornik. It's much appreciated. And Paul, thank you too. Yeah, love might be the word I was struggling for there, Paul, when I was babbling about the experience I was describing. There are times in your life when you truly do feel loved, and I don't mean in a romantic sense. I mean in a accepted, warm, we are you are important to us sense. And yeah, it's good. Well, lunch money, Philip, that is probably the least surprising thing I've read in a very long time. Oh, Couch, so sorry to hear about your dad falling. Going to be there on Monday. All right, well, safe travels, buddy, and keep me posted. Yeah, I hope all turns out well there. Piper on the 45. How you doing, buddy? Good evening to you. And there's Crafty Piping. Thank you, Flint Hill. The Smooth Piper. How's it going, Peter? Happy Friday to you, sir. Philios and Agape. Indeed, Michael. Good to know Ilva's going with you, Couch. I'd offer to bring her here, but she would probably kill Thatcher and Isabel. And, well, let's just, no, you know what would happen? She'd organize Thatcher and Isabel into a criminal organization that would terrorize the whole neighborhood. That wouldn't be good. That would be the outcome of Ilva visiting them. So the Smooth Piper's got Haunted Bookshop and his Friday Sabanelli. Crafty Piping's got some Cult Blood Red Moon going on. Fantastic. And there's Nicholas Kevin Risch, Owentown World War II camp fan in Texas. Risch, yep, got it right, I think. Oh, good to see you, Nicholas. Well, Big Dave, he did eventually tell my sister, um, but it wasn't early enough, you know. And he's, I mentioned before, he's got autism. He's a stubborn person. He doesn't like doctors, but he's so funny. He's got this outright fear of hospitals. He's terrified of having to go to the hospital because he's seen multiple people now go to the hospital and never come back out. And but he's there and he's like chatting up the nurses and making jokes and stuff. And he's had an operation. He was terrified of having an operation. Now he had the first operation, and he's like, "Oh, I'm going to get another operation." It's just amazing to watch how his mind works and how quickly he'll accept the new reality each time. And his sense of humor has really helped him a lot. And I'll tell you a very funny story in a minute about his sense of humor. Something happened today that was just hilarious. Ilvatology. Yeah, that wouldn't be a good thing, Couch. Second best hospital in the galaxy cartoon show? I will look that up, Yordik. Oh, crafty piping. I hate to say it, but it is a bad idea. And I'll tell you why. So Crafty Piping's asking if a wood lathe from Harbor Freight could get him started making an acrylic stems. It could. It definitely could. And honestly, if I made acrylic stems with a wood lathe, it can be done. If you're a skilled wood turner, it's probably going to be easier for you to do it. It's probably not the best tool for it. So, if you're talking about spending, and I don't know what amount we're talking about, but let's just say you're going to spend $300 on a wood lathe, and for $600 you could get a metal lathe, and all you want to do is make stems, then I'd say wait until you have the $600 and get the metal lathe, even if it's a small one, because you don't need a big one for making stems. If you want to do other things with the wood lathe, that's a different story altogether. Uh, I don't know if I'm being helpful with that answer or not, but if you're a good wood turner, you can make stems on a wood lathe. There's no question about it. It's not going to be easy, but it can be done. Thank you, Artie, and everyone else. I really do appreciate it. He is being an excellent patient, Big Dave, and I'll tell you this story because it's hilarious. So he's a funny guy. The thing is, his sense of humor isn't always obvious because he knows things that you just don't know. He gets deep into like stuff, and it might be a game show. He loved game shows when he was a kid, so he might know things about the game show history or the guy who was the star of the game show, the announcer or whatever they call it. Um, Or it might be some sports thing that he knows about that most people wouldn't know about. And he'll use that in jokes. And if you don't have the inside track on it, you're not going to get why it's funny. But if you do, it's often just hilariously funny. So, uh, great starter, metal lathe setup, crafty piping. I would suggest you look at Grizzly. Um, they have some nice, reasonable metal lathes that you can get that would be quite reasonable for stems. The one I have is, I will tell you the number, G0765. Grizzly G0765. I don't remember how much it cost or how much it costs now, but I don't think it was much more than about $600 at the time that I bought it, and it's been fantastic. So, uh, just my opinion, but Dave might need a break from the family medical issues. Not sure what you mean, Philip, but I think anybody could use a break from family medical issues. They're never fun. Nicholas, I am on Rumble, but the automatic upload from YouTube broke a long time ago, and I have not taken the time to try to upload a lot of videos there. I just kind of keep it as a fail-safe account. If everything goes to heck here on YouTube, I've got another place to land. But, yeah. Couch. Wanted to make pipes. What brand of wood lathe could I look for? There's a lot of them, Couch, and I have a Rikon that I actually bought from our friend Eric. Eric knows wood lathes better than I do, so you should check in with him. If I was buying one tomorrow and I had all the money to spend that I wanted to, I would probably get a Vicmark. But, yeah, there you go. Back to my story. So he's got a great sense of humor, and I'm going to tell this joke, and then I'm probably going to have to explain it. So they take him into the operating room. They explain everything they're going to do. They get his consent. He has to sign forms and everything. And they let my sister go into the operating room and stay with him until he was out, which was nice of them to do. And the truth is, this is sort of an ongoing argument I'm having with my wife as well. He doesn't need that. It's nice that she could do it, but he doesn't need that. So, oh wow, the Grizzly really went up then, Crafty Piping. Sorry. Yeah, Bidenomics indeed. Well, you got the specs for that one, so see if you can find something similar. Anyway, we can talk offline. If you want to drop me an email, I'd be happy to. If you want to send me an email and say, is this a good one, I'd be happy to look at it and let you know what I think. So yeah, they let my sister go in, and so she's in there, and it's the surgeon, and it's the three, she calls them baby doctors. The surgeon, the interns, so the surgeon has 3 interns working with her, and the anesthesiologist and the nurses and everything, and my brother gets up on the table and stuff, and he lays down, and they get him to do the consent and everything, and then he loudly says to the entire room, "Today I will be playing the role of Cavity Sam." I'm just going to let that hang there for a minute and see if anybody knows who Cavity Sam is. Anybody? So Cavity Sam, I'm assuming nobody knows. Cavity Sam is the character, Flint Hillbriar. It's the guy in the operation game, the guy that you're trying to take the stuff out. And it was funny, and the surgeon apparently didn't understand it and looked at my sister, and my sister said, "Oh, that's the guy from the operation game." And the surgeon had to go find something to sit on because she laughed so hard, and said that she had never heard any patient say anything that funny as they were going out. So yeah, that's the kind of guy my brother is, and that's the way he's getting through this. He's just using that sense of humor, and he's entertaining everybody around him. I don't know if that's intentional or unintentional on his part, but he's having a, I don't want to say he's having a good time because he's not. He wants to go home. He wants this to be over, but he's making the most of it. So there we go. That's a good point, Artie. If you're going to go with a small wood lathe, Penn State does have some good products available. Although again, it's not going to be. Most people that make stems will ultimately want a metal lathe to get that precision fit, especially if you're making replacement stems. Chris Weber, thank you so much. Thank you, much appreciated. And I hope all was well with your call there. Goblin Piper, how you doing, buddy? Yeah, I bought quite a few things from Penn State and Penn State is PSI, Penn State Industry, I think it's called. And nothing but good stuff to say about them. Good customer service, fast shipping, good quality products. So it's a good suggestion, Artie. Thank you. Darkon Proctor, I'm the highlight of your vacation. Oh, you got to plan better vacations. Glad you can make it, buddy. This is actually quite a nice bowl of haunted bookshop tonight. I didn't smoke a lot today. I had a pipe this morning, and then I think that's it. I think I only had the one pipe today. So, because of the cold or allergies or whatever the heck it is. There's Paragon Piper. Good to see you, buddy. Crafty piping, you can dig. Yes, you should. You should definitely dig deeper. But it can become a rabbit hole, so be careful. White Ash Piper squared. Chin chin. I know what chin chin means, but whenever I hear it, I think of Chim Chimney from Mary Poppins. Was that Mary Poppins or was that Chitty Chitty? No, it was Mary Poppins. Yeah. Back when Disney made things that were watchable. So I did pick out some tobacco of the month choices, since I said we were going to do tobacco of the month on the first Friday of the month. I'm a little torn about doing it because on the one hand I really want to do it. On the other hand, I'm not really tasting things right now, so I'm not going to give you much in the way of information about whatever blend we would choose. But at the same time, since it's going to be the tobacco of the month, there'll be other opportunities. So maybe that's not too bad. Frisia and Loki, I've seen some chatter about that Paragon Piper. I'm glad to hear you're enjoying it. Oh, Yornik, I hate it when sleep schedules get messed around like that, but hopefully you'll get back on track soon. Oh man, rebuilding a 74 Beetle. I can imagine the rabbit hole that would be, Crafty. Yeah. I have a real problem when it comes to tools and things like that I can restore. And just I can't imagine. I've never I mean, I know how to work on cars and I enjoy working on cars, but I've never bought a project car, and I can just imagine the mess that would be for me, the downward spiral that I would get into over that. I'd go broke very quickly. Tim, 350 to 1 shots on tomorrow's race as of now. Well, I will take one of those, Tim. I always love taking the underdogs. Are your bets in, or are you waiting? Ah, yes, Doug. Wonderful movie. 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea. Yes. And Pipe Appeal use the yeah, it is a great song. It is. Critics View, thank you so much. That's really kind of you to say, and I appreciate that. You know, it's humbling when people say things like that because you know it shouldn't be true. I should not be the highlight of your Friday. I should not be the highlight of your vacation. But at the same time, the fact that people say, and I know it's not really true, but at the same time, the fact that people care enough to say something like that, it really does touch you. That's the way to do it, Darkon. You start with those fixer uppers, and then you can handle whatever comes along. Of course, they're trying to take that away from us by making everything computerized and electronic, and if you cross the wires, you're going to blow up your house, kind of stuff. But we'll just resist that and buy buy old junkers and bring them back to life. Yes, crafty piping. It becomes is it Theseus's ship? The ship of Theseus? Where the question was, if you replace every board in the ship, is it still the same ship? Or you could do the Johnny Cash build a steal a Cadillac one piece at a time. Okay, Nicholas is asking anyone from the Bay Area remember the Southland Shopping Mall, Briars and Blends Independent Smoke Shop? Sounds like a place with a story there, Nicholas. Okay, Tim. Yeah, the track conditions are going to change things for sure. Oh, AI is. I don't even want to get into that, White Ash. I was at a meeting at work today, and somebody said, "Well, we'll because we're recording the meetings, we can use the new AI system to generate the meeting minutes." And I thought, well, I don't trust the new AI system to navigate me from my house to work. Why am I going to trust it to generate meeting minutes for me? That, a year from now, somebody's going to pull out and say, "Here, you said this thing." I mean, these systems, they hallucinate. That's the word they use. They hallucinate. And I use them a lot, not for work, but just for entertainment, because I like finding them hallucinating. So if I have a couple minutes to spare, I will open up ChatGPT or what's now Gemini, used to be Bard, and just start throwing stuff at it just to see what it makes up. and we're going to use that to generate meeting minutes or to make medical decisions or to drive our car down the highway. Oh my goodness. Anybody old enough to remember the Spin and Marty cereal on Disney's Mickey Mouse Club? I'll be a blue-nosed gopher. Ah, Doug, I remember the original Mickey Mouse Club. I can remember Cubby, which was always kind of disturbing. Cubby seemed like a 30-year-old man, shouldn't have been there. Um, he was also named after a hole in the you put stuff in. That's neither here nor there. But I can't remember any of the cereals associated with it. But I like I'll be a blue-nosed gopher. Hello, Armchair Piper. Good to see you, Ed. Good to see you. You know, Darkon, I appreciate that sentiment, but the sad reality is that it's becoming so prevalent you don't even know that you're interacting with it anymore. Um, you try to contact a customer service rep. I had to get through customer service on Amazon today. It took me a good 5 minutes before I could speak to a real person. And I thought I was speaking to a real person a couple of the times and then realized I wasn't. Um, so ignorance is bliss, but in this case, I think you need enough awareness that you know when it's potentially going to hurt you. It's a fine line, Darkon, but I appreciate your point on it. There you go, Michael. Wetware wins. George Tiedemann, thank you, George. Much appreciated, my friend. Big Dave, I haven't been following it other than know that there's been some campus craziness. I really haven't been following it. Yeah, Tim, that's the kind of minutes that we would have. Hey, it'd be really hilarious if we could get AI to generate minutes for this show. I think that would drive it completely nuts. And Ed immediately votes for Marianne. Yes. Ed and I, we agree on many things, but when it comes to Marianne, we're both 100% Team Marianne. Sky King's niece Penny. Doug, I never thought about that, but yeah, there was something going on there. Well, Yornik, that's a good use for AI. I mean, all of those, I suppose. It is getting better at making images, but they still have a weird quality to them. Couch, is this a joke or it sounds like the setup to a joke? What's the difference between a Sassini four dot and a four dot? I think four dot is just used as a shorthand for Sassini four dot, but you'll have to let me know if anybody knows better, and I'm guessing Doug might know better. Oh, Darkin, yes, your boss is literally an AI. Listen the fight, brother. Phil Rivera, how you doing, Phil? It's good to see you tonight, buddy. I always wanted to wind up on Gilligan's Island as a little kid, Paragon Piper. That was my dream. I really wanted to go to Gilligan's Island. I don't think at the time I was really thinking of bunking with Marianne, but you know, times have changed. I'm sorry, Couch. I didn't mean to imply that it was a joke. It just sounded like the setup to a joke. You know, what's the difference between this and that kind of a thing? My apologies. Oh, wait a minute. You know what? I completely missed something. I apologize, Couch. I apologize. You were asking about the number four versus the word for, and thankfully both Phil and Doug picked up on that. My apologies for being an idiot. Um, I blame the Dayquil. Oh, they're real. They're just not of the same era, Couch. And hey, if they smoke well, what do you care? Bear Wolf and Miss Kathy. Hello, Steve and Kathy. Good to see you tonight, my friends. Marianne did spend some time in the sun, Big Dave. Well, it wasn't, you know, those coconut pies didn't just make themselves. Coconut custard pies, coconut cream pies. I can't remember which she was always making. Bill, you've managed to confuse me. CaneRod Apologetics Live. I like that. Defend your privacy and obfuscate YouTube rules. Yeah, let's do that at all times. Okay, I'm down with it, Bill. Thank you. You're not throwing them out, Couch. I know you, and don't worry about the bad news, Doug. You've just spurred him on to look for the four dot FOUR dots, and he's gonna compare them. You just started another round of couch pipe buying. Patrick Grant, good to see you, buddy. Ah, so this coming Friday, I was supposed to go fishing, but I didn't know what was going on up in Vermont, and I still don't, so I canceled it. Which I'm disappointed about because I had the cabin booked and everything, but I figure it's best if I'm able to, I'll just go fishing for the day, maybe. Great Wall of Burley. There you go, Darkin. Cobblestone hiking. It's a good blend. Tim's doing the Tim's doing the meeting minutes, and I love it. Spoonful of crab, spoonful of pineapple. Yes, I do remember it, Big Dave. Oh, Paragon Piper, now you're just confusing the issue. Barbarian. That sounds like my kind of movie, Yernik. I love the ones that just get more and more, well, maybe not. I like the ones that get harder and harder to understand because they're not well written. I don't like the ones that are intentionally obtuse, but the patent number 4 dots. Yeah, yeah. I don't know. I don't understand why people pay that much for pipes, Doug. I mean, I get collectors, but honestly, Doug and Phil, you both said that don't buy the number 4 dots. They're trash and everything. Are they really that bad, or are they just not as good? That's. I guess that's a question that only the individual can answer. Uh, but I just have to wonder sometimes: is it really? Gotta be careful how I say this because I don't want to insult anyone. But there's so much. This is so simple in many ways that I don't know. It seems like there's more ways to. It's almost harder to imagine ways to make a bad pipe unless you're doing something really off the beaten path. So I wonder sometimes when people say, "Oh, those pipes are no good," if they're really not good or if they're just not as good as something else. But that's a whole philosophical question that we shouldn't get into. And now, Doug, we don't talk about hanky panky on Gilligan's Island. That's one sacred cow we will not touch. Okay, so something like that, a misalignment of the draft hole, that's a major sin in pipe making. That's what I was trying to get to. Unless you do something like that, I don't really believe that oil curing and all that stuff is making a quantum difference in the quality of the pipe. But yes, if you're not getting your draft hole aligned with the airway, that's a problem, obviously. Management ended the meeting. Oh, Tim, yeah, that's funny. And Couch is not going to smoke, only doodlers. All right, I am at a haunted bookshop, so what are we going to do here? Let's do the tobacco of the month, realizing fully well that I am not going to be able to say anything really useful about it tonight because my taste is all messed up. But I do have a whole month, so I think we're okay. Uh, yeah, crafty pipe, and I think that's the point. There's nothing wrong with a well-made factory pipe. There's nothing wrong with a well-made corncob pipe, and there's nothing wrong with a ridiculously overpriced Dunhill. Um, they're they all can do the same thing. They all can do the same job. Um, I probably shouldn't have said ridiculously overpriced Dunhill, but some of them are, especially the new ones. Beowulf and Miss Kathy, I've got something going on. It's either a really bad allergy day or I've got the start of a head cold, and I've just been kind of chilly all day. It's in the 60s probably, but yeah, I'm just not. I mean, you notice the furnace hasn't gone off at all. So anyway, let's do the tobacco of the month because we have to do months now instead of weeks. And if you don't know why, ask a friend. Okay, I've chosen 3 tins for your consideration. Do not vote until I get through all 3, because I won't be able to count your vote if you wait. So wait until I say vote, and then vote by number. Okay, number 1. This is Cornell and Deal Burley Flake number 1 from September of 2017. And I don't know if you can see, but it's got a rather domed bottom there. It does not sit well. It's a roly-poly. So number one, Cornell and Deal Burley Flake number one. Number two, and this has been opened before and smoked, but I'll put it in the, we gotta finish it at some point. Robert McConnell Original Scottish Flake. And this was from 2022. But I did open this at least 6-8 months ago. That's number two. Number one is Burley Flake. Number two is McConnell Scottish Flake. Number three is LJ Peretti Cuban Mixture, because I got a big tin of it and it was there. So, begin voting now. Number one, Burley Flake. Number two, Scottish Flake. Number three, Cuban Mixture. White Ash, you're taking off. Well, you have a good weekend as well, my friend, and a good night. We got number three, 2 threes, 3 threes, 4 threes, 5, 6, lots of threes. We got a number one, 6, 7 threes, 3 twos, 2 ones, 8 threes, 9 3. I think 3 has run away with it. Huh. 3 was the one I was least expecting to win. 2's catching up a bit, but there's another 3. I think 3 has got it. So, all right. Well, we will put these back. Someday I'm going to open this Burley Flake number one. But we will put these back. And what I'm going to try to do is not just bring out those two and something else next month. I'm going to try to make this a variety, because I got a variety. We'll see how it goes. But of course, that means I might have to remember what I pulled out last month. Alrighty. So, Cuban Mixture. This is actually from 2020, November 7th of 2020. I, for some reason, put the exact date on it. I don't usually do that. And if I'm not mistaken, I bought this after a conversation with Couch because he was going through a Peretti phase. And I had it before, but I thought, gee, I don't have any of that right now. I'm going to get some Cuban Mixture. Big Country Briar, how you doing, Cole? We're all hanging out in the basement, indeed. Oddly enough. And I am going to put my Cuban Mixture in a pipe that just screams Cuban to me. No, I'm kidding. This is my little Phil Rivera Appley pipe. Every time I bring this out, he tells me what it is, but I call it the Appley pipe. Most things are Couch's fault, so it makes sense there, Couch. Tim wants me to mix the 3 of them. Maybe some other time. So if you haven't had Cuban Mixture, it is a treat. It's, I believe the little blurb on it says that it's 13 different types of tobacco. It's the oldest blend that Peretti blends, and I think that makes it the oldest American blend. I think that's correct. It does have cigar leaf in it, which is partly why it's called Cuban Mixture. It's got a lot of other things in there. It's just a really well balanced though blend. It's one of these things where you're thinking it's going to be so ridiculously complex that your taste buds are going to revolt, and yet somehow it just all melds together nicely and works. And it's got that Peretti topping on it, which for me, I go from loving it and wanting nothing but it to thinking, oh, do I really have to smoke through all this bowl? I can't explain why, but there's something about that topping that will sometimes really grab me, and other times will just, I don't want it. But right now, I'm looking forward to it. So let's get this lit up. A lot of sweetness and that topping. It's an old flavor. It's something that makes me think of old time tobaccos. The apple-like pipe object, indeed, Michael. But this is a great pipe. It smokes fantastic. Uh, this is not a apple. Funny, Yernick. Very funny. I barely know enough French to get that joke, but 13 tobaccos blended with socialism. Yeah. I think it was blended before the socialism, Tim, but almost a hint of wine, says Paragon Piper. Yeah. Yeah, if you're really gentle, I can get that. Yep. But there's also something musty about it. Something, I don't know, it makes me think of like attics and the coat room at school and things like that. That's true, Jim. There were no spoiled children protesting, mostly because they were all working. Dank Boston basement mustiness. You know, Cole, that's one way to think about it, but dank basement makes it sound like it's like a musty, moldy kind of thing. I don't think that's it. It's more of a, I don't know. It's hard for me to explain. There's nothing like wet and moldy about it. It's more of a bright, dry, dusty, old kind of what Grandpa's house smelled like. Yeah, somebody else said tasting like Grandma's house. It's got that, yeah. Hint of mint? You know, Doug, it's one of those toppings where I think if I think about it long enough, I could taste just about anything in it. Um, you know what it's similar to, and this will probably drive people away from it, but it's got some similarities to Mixture 79. I'm not saying it's the same, but it definitely has some similarities to that. Just the topping. And once you burn past that, it's very good tobacco. Oh, I'm sorry, Michael. I didn't mean to misrepresent. Yes, these are not all new blends to me. Old wood musty is a way to put it, Cole, and Paragon Piper says empty old chest of drawers. Yes, yes. Like if you're in an old antique shop and you open up an old chest of drawers, that's like it, yes. But not in a bad way. I like if that sensation could be captured in a topping. It's not that it tastes like somebody ground up the chest of drawers, but it's the sensation of opening that and smelling that. And that's very distinct from I get I give a similar description to something that is a little odd. So when I'm smoking Three Nuns, the Dark Fire Kentucky in that blend makes me think of the church pews in the church that I attended when I was a child. And I call it like a lacquered wood flavor. But I think about that church and I think about those church pews, and all that I can imagine is that I must have, and this disgusts me to no end, but I must have, as a little kid, been sitting there mouthing the wooden church pew, which is where everybody puts their hand and stuff. And I think, good Lord, no wonder children are sick all the time. Yernick, we didn't have similar grandparents. Oh, this is nice. Thank you for picking this. It's although I have to admit I stacked the deck a bit. Any of those three would have made me happy. I didn't just do a random draw because I'm not feeling great, and I figured if I get something weird or like a lot of key or something, I'm just not gonna be able to smoke it. So I went with things that I knew would be normal enough. Like chewing on an old pencil. Yeah, I've had blends like that, Michael. That pencil shaving flavor. Um, and that's where it becomes interesting. Like I know I've never put pencil shavings in my mouth, so it must be the smell of pencil shavings, that cedary smell. But there's it's not just cedar. There's a sweetness to that that cedar wood alone doesn't have. Um, yeah. At Darkon, they really have some fantastic stuff. Um, I mean, if you want to do something special, just to try it, wait for their Thanksgiving Day blend to come out in October. It usually comes out is it the last day of October? Somebody will remind me. And it's wonderful every year. And you can only buy it in an 8 ounce brick, and it's a great introduction to Peretti blends. Andrew, thank you so much for joining us tonight, Pipeful. You have a great evening too, and good weekend, my friend. Good point, Yernick. I do not know that I've ever put pencil shavings in my mouth. I also do not know that I've ever put a church pew in my mouth, but it's funny how I suspect I might have done one and not the other. Good point. I find I'm going to lose most of my audience with this next statement. I find little kids to be really disgusting because you watch them and they're constantly putting stuff in their mouth, and sometimes it's just their hand, but sometimes it's like just random things, and I don't know, it just really makes me feel ill when I see that, and then I think, well, you were a kid once, you did all that. I guess I did. Like I can remember walking around with pennies in my mouth. Like I know what pennies taste like. I would never in a million years put a penny in my mouth because I've seen pennies in urinals. You don't know where that penny came from. Yet I know as a kid I put pennies in my mouth. Nasty little creatures, yes. Paragon, were you agreeing with me there? Yes, bag of pencil shavings in the locker, not a good thing, Tim. Michael, you tannin like flavor, that's hilarious. Michael, it might depend on your denomination and also the part of the country you're from. Different woods, different finishing techniques. Oh my goodness, Cole, you're going to start a run on the Tobacco Pipes website is going to be shut down tonight. They have Captain Black Grape available. Holy cow. Yeah, Crafty, you can't stop it. I mean, they're just going to do it. I remember talking to a friend of mine who he was sick. This was many years ago. He was sick. And I said, "This is like the third time you've been sick this month. What's going on?" And he said, "Well, my kids keep getting sick." And I said, "Well, why do they keep getting sick?" Because I never had kids. I'm a moron. And he said, "Because they won't keep their damn hands out of their mouths." And it's funny. Absolutely agree, Flint Hill. They're important. They're important. And they can be adorable and absolutely. And I greatly admire anybody that can be a parent and do a good job at that. Uh, but my goodness, they can be disgusting. Was it seven different tobaccos creator? I don't remember. And yeah, I mean, there's going to be different Burleys and different Virginias and things. Yeah, but they're different leaf, right? I don't know. It's been the same marketing since 18 whatever, so uh, I'll let them do it. Oh, Codger Jim, those were not the parts of the pews I was putting in my mouth. By the way, I have no memory of doing this. I just something I've seen kids do, and I imagine I did it because I when I think of that flavor, that's what comes when I think of that lacquered wood flavor that I get off of Three Nuns. And maybe it's the nun thing too. Maybe that's making me think of church. I don't know. The mind is a strange, strange thing sometimes. But when I think of it, I'm thinking of the handrail, the part that you would grab onto as you go to stand up to pull yourself up. Hey, Andrew! Welcome, my friend. You can't be late. You're just in time. Chewing wood is called cribbing when horses do it. That's interesting. Oh, because I guess that's the crib that they're chewing on. Huh. Oh, God, Cole. Oh, you make me so happy for my lot in life. Big David, sounds like you've done some experimentation in that area. I get it, Nicholas. I wish I could do more on Rumble, but it's such a pain to upload the videos there. It really is difficult. And when they were just sucking the stuff off automatically, it was great, but I think YouTube put a stop to that. But, you know, I have been thinking for a long time, and there's just always something going on in life that makes it difficult to do. But I would like to start doing some live streams on Rumble. Not replacing the Friday night live stream, maybe just something random during the week, just a 20-minute, hey, how's it going kind of thing. Just to sort of thank the folks that are following me over there, because I don't do very much over there. You know, Tim, that's what I always say about you. When people ask, how is that Tim guy? I say, well, you know what he believes. Oh, you must be a little bit tired out there, Cole. That's a lot of activities for one evening. The Smooth Pipers moved on to Boswell Best in a basket pipe. Nice. I remember that about you, Big Dave. I remember. But you've done a study. That's what's important. You use that time wisely to learn something. I don't know what comes after YouTube Darken, but something has to because I mean I finally gave in and bought the premium. I got the family plan because my wife watches it a lot, and I love it because I watch movies on YouTube. You know, I watch. I talked about oh Newminster Newminster After Dark, which is a really great channel that does classic '70s movies. My buddy Mark in Rhode Island pointed me to a show called Creature Features, which is similar to Svengoolie in some ways. You guys probably know Creature Features if you're from the left side of the country. That's great. That shows some really great classic films. I watch that, and I just don't want to have to sit through a commercial every 5 minutes. And my wife watches stuff, so it just made sense for us to go ahead and buy it. Plus, I get the YouTube music as part of it, which for long trips like I had this weekend are great. I just say play music, and it knows what I like and picks songs based on what I've requested before. I can get it to play a particular album. I can ask it to play a particular artist or, you know, a concert or whatever. And it's worth it for me to pay for that. But a lot of people don't want to do that. And if you have to watch a 10-minute video, you've got to watch 3 different segments of 2 to 3 minutes of commercials. You're not going to do it. It's destroying the platform. I was looking up wrenches today while I was supposed to be working. I've got I got this. I wanted to know something about the history of it. So I was trying to find out the history of the company that made this wrench. It's a wonderful wrench, by the way. Turns out it was made somewhere between 1901 and 1903. Very cool. Anyway, so I'm trying to find that, and I found a website that's got the history of this company on it, but it's completely occluded by pop-up ads. And you have to wait for them to play in order to see the X to hit to close it. And you bring the mouse over to close it, and it disappears. And you say, oh, good, and you go back to and it pops up again. And this website was completely unreadable unless I was willing to pay, and I wasn't going to pay. So this is just, it's getting to the point, and then you've got all the AI stuff. I'm sorry, I'm now on a soapbox and I'm doing cranky old man complaining, but you've got all the AI generated stuff with, these all these videos, the top 5 this or the top 10 this or the 10 times this happened, or any of it, they're completely AI generated. And half the time they're not worth watching. Well, most of the time they're not worth watching. Half the time they're inaccurate. So what does that mean for the future of YouTube? What does that mean for the future of the internet? I don't know. I don't know. But I'm not at all positive about it. I got the Whitney Houston song, Tim. I just don't like it, so I don't want to play along too much. I can't stand that woman. She sings at a pitch that only dogs can hear. Every Charles Bronson movie. It's great movies, Darka. Steve, yeah. I mean, I get to some extent that they're a necessary evil, but what bothers me is I've turned them off on my channel. I finally decided if I can't stand to watch him, I can't make anybody else watch him. And that I don't get any money from YouTube unless I reach $100, and then they give me $100. So if I make $40 in ads, I never see that until I make $100 in ads. I have, at the peak of my viewership, when I had everything fully monetized, I was getting 1 to 1.5 payments a year from YouTube. So that's how much I was making, $100 to $150. And of course, the half payment wouldn't come until the following year because I'm just not going to put people through that, to make such a small amount of money. And that's not why I do it. I do it because I enjoy it. So that's why I turned it off. I do still have it on the old videos, and I'll leave that because they're done. They're rarely getting watched. But what bothers me is that despite turning it off, YouTube still runs ads. And what that means is if you want to make money, you can. But if you don't want to make money, we're going to make it off of you anyway. And then they tell me if I turn it on, they say, well, you can't monetize this. It's tobacco. Well, you're monetizing it. You're already doing that. So, no point in arguing with them. Yeah, get off my lawn. I need a t-shirt. YouTube is like a deadbeat dad. Could be, Paragon. Could be. I think I'd have to think too hard right now to sort that, but yeah, Michael, but the problem with that is you're a tiny voice in a vast ocean of people buying stuff. And I know you're not an Instagram guy, but anybody that's on Instagram, the ads have gotten absolutely ridiculous. These seemingly high-end watches that clearly are going to cost thousands of dollars, but you can get it now for $29. Regular $600, but for the next 15 minutes, you can get it for $29. So this is ridiculous. You know that this is a knockoff. You know that this is going to be absolute junk, and there's absolutely no reason to waste your money on it. But they have these very well-produced commercials, and people are buying it. People are falling for it. Um, I don't know how much I want to go into this. So I was listening when I was driving. One of the things I was listening to was a podcast, and Uh, I don't want to give too much of this away because there's people involved, and it's not. I mean, they talked about it, but I just don't feel comfortable talking about it. Uh, let's just say that there's somebody that makes a particular item for sale, and someone showed up at his shop and said, you know, I'm here to talk to so and so, and he said, well, there's nobody here by that name. And he said, oh well, I was told to come here and talk to, let's just say Bob, talk to Bob about buying this product. And he said, well, there's no Bob here, but I do sell that product. Do you want to see? And he's got like a picture on his phone, and he's like, yeah, let me see what you have. And he said, no, this is the kind of thing I'm looking for. And the guy looks at it and says, well, that's not one of mine. That's one of my friends who lives on the other side of the country. Uh, Let me call him up and see what's going on. So he calls him and says, you know, hey, there's this guy here. He's asking for Bob. The guy's name isn't Bob, by the way. Um, but he's got a picture of one of your things. What's going on? And he said, oh, yeah, there's some guy in South Africa that's been taking pictures off of my website, putting them on Facebook for sale, telling people that you're going to ship them and taking their money. And it's like, this is what a scam. So you're selling something you don't even own. You're saying somebody that never owned it is going to ship it. You're using the goodwill and good names of two different people that you're hoping aren't going to talk to one another about this, and they hadn't up until this point. And you know, so let's say it's a $600 item and you're selling it for $200. Well, people will jump on that because they think they're getting a deal. They see the reputable names and all that. So you got to be really, really careful. They're getting far too crafty and far too clever, I guess is the word I'm looking for. And if they would just put that time and effort into doing something legal, they'd probably be very successful. Well, Michael, there's something to be said about that good feeling. You know, if you feel like you're doing your part, then you keep doing your part. I didn't mean to be critical of it. I just meant to say that it's not enough, I guess. But you're right, as a personal statement, it's a fine thing to do. Oh man, Doug, that is awful. Yeah, scamming it's evil. It's a terrible thing. That's why any chance you get to engage a scammer and to keep them occupied, do it. Be careful. Don't give them any personal information, but lead them along and have fun with them because you're preventing him from preying on somebody that doesn't know better. Just try to be good to each other. My goodness, Darkin. Yep. Oh, Big Dave, I'm sorry. There's no copious amounts of thick white smoke. I'll try to do better for you, buddy. Yornik, he didn't say South Africa, but yeah. Oh, yes, Chris, there's one of those that's called Atomic Shrimp or something like that, where it's a British guy that goes through all the emails that he sends back and forth with the scammers. They're hilarious. I do enjoy that. He gets really deep into it. I mean, he's actually had people from different scams talking to one another, which is hilarious. Um, he'll get one guy who says, you'll get this amount of money if you do this, and he'll get another guy that says something similar enough that he'll say, well, I'm already talking to so and so about this, and he's good. Doug, I only peripherally saw that story, but you're right. You're right about that. I mean, yeah, it's the only way we're going to be able to do it is one person at a time. I mean, we don't have a system that's going to fix this because the system is just as corrupt as and evil as everything else. So it has to be done one person at a time. So I'm now completely taking back what I said about Michael Case's idea of keeping a list and not supporting any. Yeah, we should do that because the only way it's ever going to change is if it happens one person at a time. Yeah, but Armchair Piper, that Dr. Bo in particular is a crafty fellow. I'd be careful. Hey, we got furnace finally. I told you it was cold. Yornik, your better half is a completely separate story. Absolutely. That's amazing, Tim. Yeah. You can't see it, but I'm getting close to the end here. Perdomo Lot 23 Sun-Grown. Sounds like Cole's got himself a nice cigar. Glad we can warm you there, Doug. Armchair Piper, they are scammers of the worst kind if they're trying to take your tobacco. Do not stand for that. There are some things we just cannot allow to happen. Yeah, Michael, I think I've got the filtering worked out well enough that you don't hear it, but my voice is probably distorted. Or you probably hear like a running water sound, which is just the filters getting, well, doing their best. The real furnace, Yurnik, yes. We're going to tie things up here shortly. I'm kind of waiting for the furnace to wind down so that I can hear myself talk. And I would load another pipe, but I'm not sure I'm going to have another one tonight. I think an early bed, excuse me, early night to bed is probably in my best interest. I didn't see that, creator, but I wouldn't be surprised if there was more attempts at attacking tobacco. Yeah, Michael. Yeah, it's done. Yes, Michael. Right now, I don't know what's happening. I don't know. So I may still have to move up to Vermont. I may have to, uh, and it would be a temporary, relocation, and it would be fine. But uh, right now, I mean, he's got to get through this issue. He's got to get through the septic shock and get healthy enough that we can, uh, hopefully move on to the next stage. What's going on? How about that? So, okay, I've just got an update from my sister, which I will share with you because you've asked. Um, they said he would be on a breathing tube after the surgery for at least 2 days. The surgery finished at 3 o'clock this afternoon. They just took the breathing tube out. They said he was breathing fine without it. So he's strong. He's strong. He's doing really well. I think he's going to kick this, and then it's going to be just the really long road of next steps. But that's what it is. So whether that's something that I need to bring him here for, or I need to go up there for, or there's a lot I don't know right now. But what we're going to do is we're just going to keep doing this week to week, like I did the past 2 weeks. So if you see an announcement that there's going to be a show, please show up. I'll do my best to do this when I can, but I know you understand if I can't, and I'm going to do the same thing with the Sunday show. So with that, my friends, I am going to draw this to a close. I will. There's a little bit in there. As we traditionally do, I will finish up my last beer. I did, out of habit, repack this, so I guess I'll smoke one more pipe tonight. But with that, I will let you go. Thank you for joining me. This was really wonderful for me. I'm so happy to be able to spend this time with you and talk about some of these things. Keep Scott in your prayers. I'll keep you all in my prayers. And until we speak again, have a great weekend. Bye now. Of course, that's not going to work.